Sunny Leone's PAN card was used to take a loan.
You get these text messages or emails, and then you click on a link and somehow your money has disappeared. It actually happened to somebody in our office. There's also a lot of money laundering.
How do we help banks or other fintech become Paytms of their own?
On a per occasion, if they don't respond to it, there's a 250 CR fine.
What?
You have to have the customer's consent to then contact the customer.
RBI is very active.
Now the travel company earlier used to have the data of customers who's applying for it.
But what about layers of data that's just out there already, right?
To get a job, you need experience. To get an experience,
You need a job. Yeah.
Don't expect instant gratification.
Entrepreneurship is always a lonely journey.
Meet Tarun, Nazare and Rohith, Reji, entrepreneurs who are revolutionizing the fintech space one innovation at a time. With their background in data science and building businesses respectively, in 2019, they launched Neokred. The idea behind Neokred is to enable businesses to leverage the power of open banking seamlessly. Tune in for a conversation on fintech, data privacy and protection, and protect yourself from money laundering and so much more. Welcome to the Humans of Bombay show. How are you guys all the way from Bangalore? How does it feel, Rohith and Tarun?
I mean, it's pretty good actually. We've been following every young boy's dream start from the IT capital of India,
Yeah.
the Silicon Valley, and then we just started our journey there and then forged our dreams from there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the same like Mumbai and Bangalore, the same traffic and the same, the kind of...
We can compete closely on where the traffic is worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
We use these words very fast and loose, right? Like fintech and all of these things, which actually we realize that a lot of people don't even know the base meaning of. So because we're here to chat about things base up and from the very basics, what is fintech? Like if you had to explain it to a 15-year-old, what is fintech?
It's like a piggy bank. It's
Okay.
show that piggy bank as a concept.
Okay.
And then so the piggy bank acts like a bank
Okay.
to someone. So whenever the child is going and putting that coin or even breaking it for that matter, so he's understanding that this is a place where he can keep his money. And this is a place where if the money is needed, they can break it
Yeah.
over here. And inculcating the habit of saving over here is the small steps.
Correct.
You can say.
I mean, just imagine like he said, no. Imagine a piggy bank, a child. Right? A child is using a small money pot to put his coins. But now imagine that same pot his parents are using, a larger one, but there is no physical pot.
Correct.
Right? It is in the parents. The parents is using his or her computer to store money, to record what money, where and out. So fintech is technically financial technology where you're utilizing computers and smartphones to keep track of your money movement or storage, what you do, right? So that is what exactly fintech is, where you just use technology and you do as normal, whatever you do as a normal, however you do, but utilize this technology, this computer to manage your money. That is what we call fintech. Or 15-year-old.
You guys want to make BFSI a more seamless ecosystem, which is banking, finance, S is service and insurance. So when it comes to banking, finance, service and insurance, why is it so complicated? And why are there so many blocks, right, that you have to actually come and solve for it to become seamless? What are the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think for every, I think it's in everyone's blood that the moment money is related, right, we become a little obnoxious, right?
Okay.
Shit, the word money, and I have to be, when I'm spending money from my pocket or when I'm receiving money from my pocket, right? So now imagine that obnoxious feeling in a whole industry where a group of 10 people or 10 companies coming together and becoming obnoxious together. right? And then that's how the word, banks came into picture, right?
Yeah.
Right? And now the more earlier, say example, 10 years back, it was very easy. Just, you go to a branch and then, you deposit, you want to take a card, you can, go and apply and everything. Now everything has become digital, right? So the more digital it becomes, the more complicated it gets, right?
And what are some of the things that people keep in mind while using products and services?
See, in the BFSI segment, right, since money is involved, there's a lot of, everyone is depending on the word trust with your money, right? Whatever services that you're using, whether that service is good or not, what is the rating, what is the reviews of that service, right? And before anyone selects that respective product, since the customer's money is involved over here, he wants to be double sure that what he's spending on and the products or services over here, he's getting that value out of it.
Correct.
Over here. That's where the whole, you can say, do I trust this brand to give me a better value, is the first question that is being asked by the customer here.
But on that note, when you say trust, the other aspect of that is that there's also a lot of like money laundering, and you get these text messages or emails, and then you click on a link and somehow your money has disappeared. It actually happened to somebody in our office where somebody just called her and said that, do you use this card, whatever. She said no, nothing, and 15,000 rupees disappeared from her bank account. It happened in our office.
Over voice. And no code, nothing has been shared. And she's gone to the bank, and the bank is just like, we don't know how to resolve this because somebody has just taken it. Was very, very like shocking for us to also hear about it. And we were just like, I don't know what's happened. Actually should check whether she got the money back. But it happened, and it was over a call. So how does one like safeguard themselves, right, from these practices where it's like, forget voice, but it's also very easy to just click on a link or like a text message, and suddenly your data has just been leaked and somebody's accessing your bank account. I think recently this also Nitin sir has also told about what happened with Zerodha, right? There was a complete mirroring of Zerodha's application.
Okay.
And the users were not able to understand which was the real Zerodha.
What?
It was completely mirror image. The same thing happened with ICICI Bank as well. So one such person that I was talking to who was working on how do we stop these deepfakes and other technologies to be misused.
Because you're very convincing. They're extremely convincing.
See, that's what, no? I mean, like I think the more seamless it becomes, the more complicated it gets, right? Because again, we are also while we make everyone's lives easier, right? At the same time, we know how to build something. But what happens if that, if something gets
build is misused.
Is misused,
like you
right?
misuse the knowledge of building a particular product, basically.
So usually, even in our mobile application, right, whenever you're typing your username and password, there's a small button where you say save this information for future use.
Just so that you save time.
Exactly. And then they have this facial recognition, as in the iPhone it is there, right? So some people have stopped clicking that button, and it is because see the data when you are telling the app that save this information so that my convenience factor of entering the app is more convenient here. So what if that respective brand is hacked, or at least to the knowledge where the brand knows certain leaks have happened over here. So it is very easy for someone to put the same username and password and enter into someone's app in this manner, and then wipe out the wallet or whatever it is.
So I think we have to be a little conscious in terms of, while there is a lot of convenience in how digitally anything becomes, we have to have that a small level of thought where this convenience should not compromise our security.
Correct.
Right? So like he said, in terms of the safe password thing.
Yeah.
So what happens tomorrow if that particular brand or app gets hacked in the future?
Yeah.
Right? So that means the data of all the customers over there and is compromised, right?
Yeah.
So while we on this side, the good guys are building much more seamless, the bad guys at the same time are also
Building it seamlessly.
Seamlessly,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Right? So it's always a fight between both in
Yeah.
terms of who wins first.
So what can one do to what are some of the tips, like simple things, like you said, the safe password, right? Like people can actually use that and action it and take out that extra 10 seconds of their life to re-enter a password. What are some of the other things that people can do to just mitigate the risk?
So one such thing is, again, we have to be a little conscious in terms of, okay, I like convenience, but I don't like over convenience.
Yeah, like I'll make a little bit of an effort.
So that could be one. Second is in terms of, where the moment you know that it is suspicious, I think you should take a moment of hesitation that there is, the Digital Personal Protection Act that is coming up, right? Which is technically our first right to privacy. So while, so that is like our entry to showcase that, yes, personal details has to be, cautious. I mean, you have to, be very cautious about it. And where if tomorrow there is a brand A or a brand B calling you without you giving your consent, right? So tomorrow it is an effort where these consent managers are now becoming like an advocate, saying that, hey, you have to have the customer's consent to then contact the customer.
But this happens all the time. Like a business or a brand, even like a clothing brand that I have not signed up for or not visited, is WhatsApping me their sale details. And I'm like, how do you have my number? Because I've never shopped from there before, but they're on my WhatsApp. So, I mean, I don't know what one can do. Like I just blocked the business, but a lot of people, and I don't know if it's legit or not, a lot of people could fall for that sale, like 70% off, and you click on the website, right? So I don't know. It's a confusing time.
Yeah. So I mean, for that, I think there's this word called consent manager, where in this Digital Personal Protection Act that is announced, right? So that would be coming. So these consent managers are technically like your,
gatekeepers.
Yeah, gatekeepers.
Consent
gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So every company who holds or who collects customer data will have to mandatorily appoint a third-party consent manager who would have to intimate the customer that, hey, this brand would like to access so and so. Like, I think something's very similar to an account aggregator in the financial world. This is like an account aggregator in the non-financial exercise. So it's your personal, exercise, like all your personal information and everything. So these consent managers will now, if suppose say a customer's data is now breached, or say tomorrow you get any unauthorized, someone contacts you, you can now complain to the consent manager, who is again reporting to the Data Protection Board, who would now be legally be taking this and saying that, hey, brand A, please stop contacting this customer has not given you consent. This is the notice. You are immediately requested to revoke.
Okay. Okay.
So there's very strict guidelines by the board. So on a per occasion, if they don't respond to it, there's a 250 CR fine.
That's the minimum fine. So I think the
small
world,
fine.
So I think the world is moving while we are being more technologically advanced, right?
Yeah. And what is the future looking like for fintech in general?
I think the best part, at least that we have seen over the last 2 years, is RBI is very active.
Yeah.
They have created RBIH, which is like a Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. And we fintechs are welcomed over there, and that constant interaction is happening. So previously, it was like whatever RBI says and says to the bank, that bank communicates with us. Now it's like, okay, banks are there, but let me talk to the fintech, is what RBI is telling. That's the message over there.
Yeah.
And when the conversation that we have with them, it's so insightful that it's not just that we understand about wealth tech, but also what is happening in insure tech and how we can get involved in it.
Okay.
So many product managers and certain consultants, they come to our office, or we go to our office and say, hey, this is a use case. This is the problem statement. How do we create tech and solve it?
Okay.
That's the kind of two-way traffic that's happening.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
So what are some of the insights that you've gotten from these kind of conversations, for example?
Over the years, there's a lot of licensing, a lot of activities that is going on, which safeguards the good people over here. So because the good people are not worried of taking any licenses or applying for them and doing their regular course of business over here. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the kind of very.
So what are some of the guidelines, for example, like something new that's come up, right? That is moderating the fintech industry.
So one is, like I mentioned, this consent manager that is there. Second, we have now also seen that fintechs, now earlier it was that a fintech who works with a bank can, like say you've co-branded a credit card with a travel company, right? And
co-branded a credit card with a travel company. Okay. For example.
Right. Now the travel company earlier used to have the data of customers who's applying for it. But now today the travel company is only limited to marketing and distribution of that, because you do not technically need transactional details or transactional volume, payment details of the customer, because you're technically a travel company, right? So you're not a payment company, right? Similarly, TSPs have, or say technology service providers in fintech or in banking, they are limited, they are overly, they should focus on providing technology, nothing more, right?
Okay.
If you do want to provide anything more, there are these respective licenses, such as a payment aggregator. If you want to touch money in the entire flow of chain, you can take a payment aggregator license. If you want to touch, say provide data, then there is account aggregator license, right? So similarly, in all these are a couple of licenses that is available, or that the RBI has mandated, that if you want to be in this ecosystem and you want to do it in a much more greater, deeper manner, you have to comply with it.
Okay.
Adding to Rohith, even crypto companies,
oh my God,
right? There's a financial intelligence unit that is being formed and monitored by RBI. So whatever transactions that they have done, even buying and selling, it's all monitored, because earlier
it was highly unregulated and unmonitored. Right.
So that's where the good people are saying that I am with,
because I don't mind the moderation.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's more in terms of, see, we are all like techies, right? We are, now we have to mature up from a techie to, okay, let's become responsible. That's where the licensing piece comes, and coordinating with the regulator comes into place, because it's very it's the responsibility of not only giving that service to the customer, but also to your country to keep it safe.
Correct. Can you simplify what Neokred does?
Neokred is a customer experience platform.
Okay.
Right from onboarding a customer and providing that experience to that brand is what we facilitate as an experience.
Okay. And it's an experience, which is what you guys also kind of have seen your website. It's the stress on the experience, a good experience.
Correct. So, I mean, we wanted to redefine the word infrastructure, right? And while there is a lot of building blocks in IT or in software, right? How do you bridge that gap between an infrastructure as well as a front-end customer who wants to have a very, very, very seamless, conversation or an experience between that? And that is why we stressed on this word, and then started building a customer-centric, ready-to-use platform, low code, or using all the very fancy words, and then built up a very strong brand in this field.
And how did you all come together? You've built an app when you were in school, and you've helped several businesses, and you're the finance guy. How did you all come together?
So it was a previous firm.
Okay.
that he was handling the sales, marketing, and investor relationship,
Okay.
and I was handling the tech, product, and finance over there. That's when we understood the gap. When we start talking to our clients, right? It usually used to take about 10 to 12 months to go live in any fintech product.
Yeah.
No one, or you can say some of the people have the patience to wait for that timeline, but not most of us.
Yeah, it's too long.
Yeah. So that's where that gray area where reducing that timeline of a product and how to go to the market in a faster manner. And that's where the whole concept of Neokred with its tech guys were launched.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I was ever since school, I've always wanted to be part of some idea. Me and my couple of friends there, we just came together. We just thought, okay, let's just give it a shot in terms of building something there. And luckily, those guys were from tech. We built, an application where we've turned anything into a touch screen. I mean, that was like a very big thing. But it was actually, we again copied some others, idea. But then for a 10th standard or 11th standard guy, that was showcasing in terms of, an innovative idea. From there, school, college, and now like he said, we met in our previous organization. There, I was on a contract for 6 months. I was looking after their sales, their banking alliances, and he was the finance and product. I mean, we were fascinated by how Paytm's story and everyone was going around. And then we thought, how do we help banks or other fintech become Paytms of their own? So that's where we identified the gap and then started out Neokred then.
So what are some interesting use cases of products that you guys have built that are different and have actually some kind of practical impact?
I think one such product is with the name of Profile X.
Okay.
Right. We have aggregated the databases that are there all over India, and the common parameter is the mobile number, where mobile number or the email address. Usually, it's the mobile number which is convenient and asked by all these apps or websites here. Here we'll be able to know who that person is only through a mobile number, right from the name, first name, last name, date of birth, mast Aadhaar, mast PAN, and the current residing address, what is his permanent address, all these details over here. Of course, with consent, where whoever is pulling out the data, he's given the consent of the customer that these data is being pulled out, so that to give a better sign-up experience over here. With that, one of the use cases that we have served is for banks to identify the person that they're giving loan to. Is he authentic? Does he have that same number in his UPI as well, or linked to his respective bank account? That is one.
Skip trace, skip trace in bank, right? Like, say, example, you have given a loan to, say, X customer, right? And you have sanctioned the loan and basis his customer, his Aadhaar card address and everything. But then for collection purposes, when you go to that thing, he is not there. So how do you identify where is the actual customer? So
3 years back, I think Sunny Leone's PAN card was used to take a loan.
What?
And it reflected in her credit report. She was like, I never took this loan. Who used my PAN?
Oh my God.
So skip tracing, right? So now you are able to identify basis what's your Swiggy address. Basis that you're able to find out. But I think the most interesting use case we've touched is marriage, matrimonial sites, right? So today you see, your matrimonial sites. What is your current journey? You like a person, that person says, hey, these are my details. I am earning this much. I am from this this company, I am from, and I'm pretty clean in terms of no cases and so and so. And also you can, you have a Kundli match and everything, right? But how do you, verify it, right? So this is like a premium version that this matrimonial sites offer, right? Alongside the moment you're able to share your Kundli report, this will also give out, okay, if that person is actually earning a 1 lakh or a 20,000,
what they're claiming,
what they claim to be, is where they claim to be, say if they're working in a company, is it actually, are they working there actually, right? So this is basis your, we provide you this data basis insights using your EPF, whether are you getting timely payments of your provident fund, right? Or are you basis your
do you have any loans?
do you have any loans in your thing?
Can you also check criminal records?
Yes, this is a very important part.
Court cases, criminal checks.
Because you have your entire court cases online, right? You can just go online, you can just type in and identify if there's any court cases. We have digitized the entire thing through Profile X, right? Where to understand if this particular person in his name or in his number, is there any court cases, FIRs registered in his name, or to know if he's a blacklisted, is he a vulnerable person in terms of all these kind of matters. And then when the spouse, the girl or the guy, right, they will be able to take a very good decision. This is something which had a very strong impact.
Right from matrimony to anyone who's onboarding a customer in a digital format, the app or the brand can now decide whether they want to onboard these customers or not.
That's very interesting. Very different also. Let's talk a little bit about data protection. You were mentioning earlier, right? Like there's just so much data out there, because I'm just thinking, like, my phone has everything, right? Like my bank details, because I use UPI. It has all my passwords. It has even very basic things like photographs, right, with family and friends, my email passwords, which are all linked again somehow to my bank account. How does one protect their data, and how do you do it better? Like, are there any tools that you can download that kind of adds a layer of protection, so to speak?
So before that, let me tell you, at least the law over here. So there are 3 parties to it. One is the data principal, like you and me, who is the customer.
Correct.
Then another one is a consent manager, who takes your data, the customer data, and gives it to the brand. Now the brand is termed as data fiduciary, someone who uses your data to then ask you that, can I please send you marketing?
Because you fit in my target audience, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I please save your password? Can I send you promotional activities? I want to understand you better. So as a data principal, if you're giving that consent where, okay, you can send, no, you cannot send, like that. I just want this one purchase to be done. I don't want any WhatsApp marketing or any other thing that I want to receive in this.
Like opt me out.
Yeah, opt me out. It's like that manage your cookies type.
Yeah.
Similarly. Yeah. So that's where the data privacy comes into place, where the consent manager takes the data from the consumer and gives it to the brand for certain marketing or promotional activities over there.
But who are these consent managers?
It's coming up, the licenses, right? So the upcoming licenses where consent managers were. Now, for example, if you have to make a payment from, suppose Swiggy, right? You get redirected to PhonePe or a Google Pay.
Unless you input your card that is saved.
The UPI. I'm talking about UPI.
Yeah, okay, you're talking about UPI. Correct. Yeah.
So if you click on UPI, you select PhonePe, GPay, it gets redirected. Correct. Similarly, when you purchase for certain products online, it gets redirected to a consent manager page where it will tell you that, okay, the brand has requested you to get certain data from you. Do you provide I consent, I do not consent.
Oh,
So, yeah,
and then
that's
if you
the
say you
upcoming
don't
thing.
consent, you can't.
Then you can't.
Then there's no promotion activities, there's no calls, there's no credit card calls, nothing comes
But
to
what
you.
about like layers of data that's just out there already, right? Like I know people who sell data just like, okay,
We are we are fortunate to start building a certain technology for the government.
Okay.
And it's where like the consent managers come right now,
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
But the phones have been there for like 15 years.
exactly, and your
Okay,
data's
you're
out
getting
there.
your SMS, you're getting
Yeah.
your emails, and all
Yeah.
that is tracked. And right now we have built that tech to make sure that, hey, other than who we have already given consent in the online one, who else has your data?
Oh, so you will know.
I will know whether it is online or offline.
Okay.
Online in the sense you would have given that, okay, allow, okay, take my photos, take my contacts, like you would have allowed, right?
Yeah.
That is one. In the offline one, you go to your cashier, he'll ask you for your number.
Yeah.
So that's where data is accumulated. And then we have figured out a tech where we will tell the consumers, hey, these brands have your data as
So
well.
how will you tell me? Like I'm a consumer, how will you reach out to me?
That brand would have reached out to you in 2 formats,
Okay.
or right now 3 formats.
Okay.
In WhatsApp,
Yeah. Email.
SMS, email.
No, but how will you tell me? Like
So
your
now you have to
service?
download a consent manager app,
Oh, okay. And then they'll inform you about
and
this.
we will analyze your devices.
Oh.
So who all has your data?
Who all has your data, and then now you will be able to say, hey, stop, I don't want these brands to connect to me further.
Yeah.
And we have used AI to predefine the message that has to go to the brand,
Okay.
so that the brand is informed, and then you stop getting those calls and
That's
activities.
insane. This is a game changer. Yeah. But what is the penalty? Say that if they continue to spam you and be like, okay, I still want to send you buy my whatever t-shirt.
So as a consent manager, there is a TAT to
Okay.
respond.
Okay.
If they don't, then there's a penalty,
What's the penalty?
250 CR.
Oh, that's the penalty
Yeah.
for everyone.
So I mean that's what. So till yesterday, like you mentioned, right? I mean there is a lot of data out there, but right now this is where how those data has to be governed. So if you
This
don't,
will answer your questions where you have not signed up for the brand, but how are they contacting you?
How? Yeah, how? Or like just simple things, right? Like I'm going to talk to you about, say, Maldives. In the next like 20 minutes, it is almost guaranteed that a Maldives like a sponsored hotel or whatever, shows up as an ad on my Instagram feed or somewhere in some ecosystem, whether it's even like you open Safari and it's there. How do things like this, how do you kind of control things like this? Because you're clearly listening to my conversation in some format, somewhere.
Maybe you would have used WhatsApp, and then that would have been fed to Facebook, and
I don't even
it's
know.
coming as an ad.
Yeah,
now.
it's just coming directly, and it happens all the
I
time.
mean every time you click on an ad, right, it has an ad signal. So whereas there are a lot of ad analytics companies who gives you, who technically kind of does a small
comes under hyper personalization.
yeah.
Right.
So in the name of hyper personalization, they do showcase you, they do customize it to you, they do sell it, right? So this is the question, or this is the answer where tomorrow, I mean till today, I can sell it however I want, but tomorrow onwards, I need the customer's consent to sell it however I want.
Yeah, and like I can't just go on like spamming you saying like buy this or
Yeah.
do that basically. Okay, so that's good news. When is this expected to release? When is it expected to be in motion?
You can say by the end of this year.
Oh wow, okay, that's soon. Okay, amazing. And what were your challenges, right? Like when you're dealing with such a robust ecosystem, you're also like liaising with a lot of like government bodies effectively. What were the challenges you guys faced on an entrepreneur front as entrepreneurs, that okay, we're setting up this extremely complicated, seemingly simple business?
I think when we started 4 years back, it was just 2 guys. I was 23 by then,
Okay.
and he was 26.
Okay.
Right? You go to banks, you go face. You tell them that hey, we have such an idea, we want to make sure that how your life gets more easier. So I mean like all stories, yes, there is rejections, there is stories in terms of how you want to. I mean, yes, I mean, I would rather. I mean, they always prefer. It is not their own their fault, but we would rather give it to a person who knows this field than to guys who wants to. While you might have an innovative idea, it's not that we don't trust you, but then I mean, those guys are a little. They have X amount of years of experience, right? So that was one.
Yeah.
Then I mean, so for us, we've always we technically are a bootstrapped. Why we've raised one small round of angel funding, and post that we've been bootstrapped, right?
Why is that a conscious decision?
Yes, it has been a conscious and I mean we did try in the earlier days to take venture capital funding, but then it's like there's this Indian story where to get a job you need experience. To get an experience
you need a job. Yeah, right? It's a chicken and egg. Which one do I do?
So that's how it was for us also in the earlier days. Then a lot of time, a lot of energy is going into this, and then we thought, okay, I mean, this amount of time, what if we just keep it in terms of increasing our business and providing more and more products with the limited capital that we have, and then slowly building up. Maybe the speed might reduce, but 5 years down the line, we might we would probably reach a level which is probably faster or greater than a newly born or a entity who has a venture funding, right?
So basically, effectively, that's autonomy in operation. And what is the future looking like? Like, what are you all excited about building from here on?
When we started 4 years back, we were a pure play payments company, right? We wanted to build more and more Paytms for India, right? Today, I mean, 4 years later, we realized that the digital landscape in India is much more is very complementary rather, and it is an intersection where payments is going with convenience, and then AI, and then this
it's
insurance,
beyond payments,
right? It's beyond payments, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So what we thought is, how do we build these technology together? So what right now, one such product that we are looking is something which we call as an income protection plan. It's like an income protection plan, something very similar to an insurance, but not an insurance.
Okay, so what is
plan.
that? Like, tell me.
So where we suppose, say example, a company lays off an employee due to forceful recognition. I mean termination.
Yeah.
Or due to a merger that happens. Now this was a sudden notice to an employee, right? So at this case, what will the employee who had that as his only livelihood do? I mean, he's at a shock. So what we thought is, let's cover that entire employee's 3 months salary, give him access to a network of soft skills training, and also a small placement assistance through our partners, who, like, say, you have a job portals, right?
Yeah.
So with this in place, now the employee has now, it's a small breathing space till he finds within a quarter his next venture that he wants to work with, right? So this is what we call as an income protect plan that we work with, that we have with our insurance partner that we are building together for India.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And I've not heard of this before. What else? Anything you're excited about?
I think the consent manager licenses that comes into play, that will be like a huge game changer for someone, where they'll stop getting any unwanted calls, or even if they get, they will start picking up that call so that they'll go to the application and complain about it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Anything else that you're excited about in fintech in general to come? Like you said, like, India is so rapidly evolving. Anything that you're looking forward to seeing in fintech?
The UPI wave, where right now the G20, it's not only India, it's going to other countries as well. So we are excited to be part of that. And wherever the UPI switch is facilitated to those countries, we are providing that. So that's the kind of boost that that India has offered.
Yeah.
I mean, UPI story is where our entire bet is on, in terms of how rapid India would be in the next 5 years.
Tomorrow you wouldn't need a forex card.
Yeah.
Really?
You
Yeah,
just
but
need,
UPI just opened up, right? In 5 countries. I
Yeah.
just read the article. I can't remember which 5 exactly, but it just opened up for us to use just as
So you
is.
can just scan your home country's bank account is there, FX rate you agree, and then the payment is made to the
It's
merchant.
crazy.
As simple as
Yeah,
that.
and earlier is traveling with like traveler checks and traveler cards, which half the time don't work, and like you're stuck without money in a foreign country. Yeah, very interesting. And anything else in like global trends in context to India? Anything that you guys want to share in that
I
sense?
think we recently set up our office in Dubai, and they're very interested to, again, to have that UPI piece.
Yeah.
And they're looking at, Indian companies to develop products for the banks.
Wow.
That's the, this is we are very fortunate, to be honest, to, envisage that.
Yeah. Crazy. So to sum up, right, let's talk about a mix of everything, but I'll start with this question first. What advice would you give to the youth who say wants to grapple in the world of a startup? Any 1 or 2 pieces of advice that helped you guys when you all set up?
I think we were good enough to understand who our customers were,
Yeah.
and then build products for them. Yeah.
I mean, one advice that we've learned through our experience is that persistence. You have to have a lot of persistence, right? It always at some point in your journey you get lonely.
Yeah.
Because it is a lonely journey, right? Entrepreneurship is always a lonely journey. So in that pace, being persistent in terms of where your focus or your goal should be. I think that should be one such criteria, one such...
Don't expect instant gratification.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, alongside that, I think, you just, have faith
Yeah.
in what you're building. Persistence is one such key
Yeah.
to be successful,
Okay. And on the data protection and privacy front, any last thoughts that you leave our audience with on things to do and not to do, to just summarize?
I mean, everyone is going to be responsible right now for their own, data. The customer themselves should be very conscious in terms of who you want to give your consent to. If not, I would say just, say no and let...
Tomorrow it will be very easy to track all these people.
Yeah.
How did you get your data? How did you get my data? Is instantly you can ask them.
Wow. Yeah.
And put them in that uncomfortable situation also.
Okay. Yeah. Very fascinating. I learned quite a bit and very excited for the products that you guys are building. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was lovely. A lot of insights, and I hope people find this useful and feel at ease that something like this is coming up.
Thank you for
Thank you,
inviting us.
Karishma. I think it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck, guys. Thank you for being the best community, and we'll see you in the next one.